Hello, and welcome back to PavementSoft University and the 10th and final onboarding step, Step 10, Modifying Your Direct Costs. So, we don't really need the Take Me There, as our direct costs can be found right here on the left-hand side of the screen. And we're going to go through each one of these and talk about how you can make them yours and how to input the data. So, a quick heads up, the asphalt, the dump fees, the stone, and the concrete will be where you enter the locations and the plants of where you pull materials from. So for our asphalt, this is going to be where we input the plants that we pull asphalt for. We can come into an item here and we can add what types this plant offers. But let's go ahead and start and show you how you can add your own. Again, the active, inactive works just the same here as it does everywhere else. So, to add a new item, again, we'll click the add item. And right now, what we need to do is we need to add a plant, if it's not here, to the database that you can then pull from. So, what you'll want to do is start typing out the name of your plant, and you're going to want to go ahead and click add item. And so now you can add the company name of this plant. So whether that be Geneva Rock or Granite, whatever that may be, you will enter that here. And then you can add the name of the plant right here. Then you'll want to input the address where this plant is located. And again, making sure that when you do add an address, you are selecting it from this drop-down list, and it will autofill it. And once you do that, you can add a phone here if you would like, and then you'll click add. Now, at the time of making this video, what would happen is you would get a yellow bar up here that says plant exists already, and so it's going to use that address. So what you will need to do is click the refresh button, and then you will be able to select the plant you just entered from this list here. And then once you do that, you can then add a custom name for this type of plant, whether you know this by the road that it's on or the name of the plant again. Whatever, this is just a location that you can enter in a custom name. Here you can enter in the tax rate for this plant based on where it's located. You can add some notes here. And to add any types, we're just going to go ahead and click this plus button here. So you can enter in the type, the name of this type of material, the weight factor. And in case you are not familiar with what weight factor is if you took, and we can click this here to give kind of an idea of what this looks like. This is, weight factor is a 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch volume. So if I took 1 square inch by 1 square inch and at 1 inch depth, and I filled it with a type of material, the amount of material that would fill in that area, how much that weighs, would determine what our weight factor is. So for square feet, we found a pretty good average to be anywhere from 12 to 14, maybe 15 pounds. So that, and this weight factor will also help us to figure out how many tons are needed for a job. So another thing we have here is you can use your liquid factor. And to use liquid factor, we do have down here in our settings where you can input, some asphalt indexes. And I apologize, I clicked here. It is right here at the bottom of the left-hand side where you can add an asphalt index. And so we can look at that really quick. You can add an asphalt index here. We have one in here already where you can specify the country, what state this is, But to add an index, we'll select the country, our state, posting period, whether that be weekly, monthly, etc. And then we can input the link to the source that we're getting this information from. And then we'll put in, when we enter this, what the price was and what the date is. And then we can add that asphalt index so we can keep track of that price. Once we have done that, if that's something that we use, we'll come back to our direct costs and then we will be able to use that. We can fill this out first and then come back and fill this out so we don't lose our progress. But you'll want to click the plus button to add as many types as this plan offers. If you are unfamiliar with what the weight factor will be, you can always give the plant a call and they should be able to help you with that number since they manufacture this material. And as soon as you are done, if you do happen to have an inventory of any of these items on hand, you can use this inventory count here. But once you're done, you can go ahead and click save. And then that asphalt plant will be added. TAC is where we can enter our specifications for the tack that we offer. So patches per square foot, per square yard, etc. What is our rate, our factor? Do we have any on hand? We can see when this item was last modified. To add an item here, we'll want to go ahead and click on the name, get our rate, our cost per gallon, what our coverage rate is to let us know how many square yards or square feet we can get out of 1 gallon, and then inventory count and save. Trucking. Trucking is pretty similar to how we filled tack out. We can edit any items that are here by clicking on the name, or we can add our own item. What is the name of this trucking company? Is this a sub? We can enter the rate per hour. How many default days do we use these when we call these guys? Is 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, etc. How many hours per day do we normally use this company? Does this company have travel time from the yard to the job? How many tons can these trucks hold? And how many hours per load? So our hours per load we like to think of as what would be called round robin. So we can specify here if it takes an hour, 2 hours to get from the job to the plant and back to the job. And then if we do have an inventory count, we can use that. If not, we can just click save. And so that'll bring us to our trucking. Next, we have our dump fees, and our dump fees works just the same as our asphalt plant does. We'll click add item. We will need to add the plant to our database here, our own personal database, where we add the company, then the name of this plant, selecting the address here. Again, making sure we choose from our drop-down list here, and then a phone number. And then once we click add, we will again possibly see that yellow banner to let us know that it does, since we do have kind of a list in our back end. You will then want to refresh, and then you will be able to select that plant. Then you can fill out the custom name for this plant, add notes, and then add the types of material that this dump plant can receive. As soon as you're done, you can click save. On to equipment delivery. So we will have one item in here, default mobilization. We can see that's $800. We've used 2 of them already. To add our own, we will click add item, enter the name in for this item, what the rate is, and then if we do have an inventory count, we can track that, and then click save. Next, we can go over our milling. So we can have some in-house milling crew per hour, subcontractor milling crew, skid steer, etc. Any of these items you can edit by clicking on the name again, or we can add our own item. Again, filling out our name for this item, what the rate is per hour, and any notes that we have, and click save. Crackfill is where we can enter our crackfill items. Right now we do have this one in here, and so we can edit this item or create our own, where we again enter the name, enter our cost per block, how much does a block of this material yield for us, kind of on average, and then a minimum. So this would be a minimum dollar amount that we would need to go and do a job with Crackfill, whether that be $500, $200, whatever that may be. And so the number that we enter here, if we ever do a Crackfill job that is under that dollar amount, it will always default to what our minimum amount is. So if we set our minimum amount to $200 and we end up going to do a bid for $100, that price for that Crackfill item will automatically default to $200, which is our minimum. We can then add an inventory account and click Save. Next will be our sealer. So we can see that we do have a couple items in here already. We can edit these. If these are good, you can just come in, edit the rate, whatever your factor may be, or you can add your own item. Again, what is the name of this item? How much does this material cost per gallon to you? What is the factor for this material? How much coverage are we getting per gallon? And then again, same as the Crackfill, we have our minimum dollar amount. And then once we're done, we can click Save. And similar to Sealer, we have the Mastic as well. We can add our own item, add your name here, rate per block, your factor. We do have some hints down here on the bottom: linear foot by 1 inch wide by 1 inch deep. An inventory count if we have it, and then click Save. Now we are on to stone. And remember, stone is going to be similar to our asphalt and dump fees. This is where we are going to add the plant for the locations that we pull stone from. So we can click Add Item. We will again need to add the item into our own personal database here. What is the company name of this stone plant? What is the name of this plant? And then what is our address? And again, quick reminder that we do want to make sure we pull or select from the drop-down list that we are given, and add any phones if we need to. Once we click Save, we will again see that same message where that item is in our list already. And so what we will do is we will need to refresh our screen, and we'll be able to select that plant from our list here. And then we can add a custom name for this plant that is something that we can reference this plant by. And then we can add the types of material here. Now our weight factor here is very similar to the weight factor for our asphalt. How much material does it take to fill in a 1 inch, 1 square foot, or 1 square yard by 1 square yard or square foot at 1 inch depth? The amount of material to fill that area, how much that would weigh, would be our weight factor. Once we've added all of our types, we can go ahead and click Save. Concrete will be the same as stone, dump fees, and asphalt. So click Add Item. We need to add that plant into our database, add the company name, the name of this plant, select the address for this plant, again selecting from our drop-down menu, adding any phone numbers, and then clicking Add. Again, a quick reminder that we may see a yellow box appear saying that that plant exists already. Once we see that, we'll go ahead and refresh our page, and then we will be able to select that plant from our list here. Then we can type in a custom name for this plant that is something that we may only reference this by, whether that be street name, etc. Enter in your tax rate, any notes, add in your types here, types of material that you pull from this plant, and then click Save. Now we have our labor. So Our labor here is not, this is not where we specify who was on the crew. This is just a way for us to allocate a dollar amount to who we are sure will be on the crew, but just not where we select who that person will be. So we do have a number of items in here already that you will be able to use and edit yourself. So for asphalt crew number 1, 7-man crew, what is the rate of the 7 guys that are on this crew added up together and divided by 7, since it's a 7-man crew? That would be our rate. We have 7 guys, 7 people on the crew. Any notes here and an inventory account. We do have a documents tab here, so maybe we can upload some images, anything like that you need to associate with this crew. We also can have an audit trail here. So when is this modified by, who, and when? So let's look at a new item here. So we can add the name of this crew, Tim's crew, Dan's crew, asphalt crew 1, etc. What is the rate per person per hour? And how many people are on this crew? And then we can click save. Again, just want to reiterate that this is not where you specify who was on the crew. You can say Dan's crew or anything like that, but this is a way so you can allocate a price for the labor that will be done on a job. We will be able to select who was actually on the job, in the job, daily of the job. So now we can move on to additional costs. We have a number of items that are already in here. You're, again, more than welcome to use any of the items that are here, or edit the ones in here to be what you want them to be. But to add an item, we'll click Add Item. What is the name of this item? What is the rate of per selected measurement unit? So this unit can be anything, really. Gallon, linear foot, each, pound, ton, whatever it may be, and then whatever the rate is per unit. So this can be also, we can specify, is this for private? So maybe residential, or is this municipal for maybe city work or utility work? We can specify that here as well. We can add any notes and then click save. Now we have some stripings where we can, again, as you can see, we do have a number of striping items in here. Again, you're more than welcome to use these or change them. But to add an item, we, again, enter the name for this item. What color is this item? White, red, yellow, etc. What is the rate for this unit? So maybe this is $15 per arrow, or per line, per bay, whatever that may be. And again, we can select the unit as each, or linear foot if we're doing curb, whatever that may be. We can also factor in a factor, how many gallons per item. So if it takes 0.1 gallons of paint to do an ADA bay, then your factor would be 0.1. And then any notes. And once we're done, we can click save. We can also add equipment to keep track of on a job. So we do have some items in here already. Again, you can add your own or edit these. We'll click Add Item. What is the name of this item? Skid steer, riser rings, whatever it may be. Sand for crackfill. What is the rate per unit? This unit works the same as stripings, each, gallon, linear foot, whatever it may be. Any notes here we need to add, and then click save. Here we can add our subcontractors. Any subcontractors that we use, we can add in here. What is the name of the subcontractor? What is the rate, the unit, any notes, and we can go ahead and click save. We can then come on to warranty. So this can be any kind of warranty work that you do. whether that be repairing seal coat, maybe after rain, whatever it may be, you can add that item here. Again, the name, the rate, the unit, and any notes, and click Save. Here we can add some signage. So stop sign with post, stop sign without post. You can add your own items here, the name, the rate, the unit, factor, if there are gallons involved, whatever it may be. But we can, maybe we can add here whatever we need to, and then click Save. And then we have our Thermo. So this can be thermoplastic, paint, or a roll. We can add our own item here. What is the name of this item? What is the rate, the unit, the factor, and any notes? So that pretty much covers all of our direct costs. Again, want to make sure that you go through each item, make sure it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, edit it or remove it and create your own. This is one of the biggest steps in Pavement Soft is entering in your costs here. And to clarify, these are your costs. This is not necessarily what you would charge your client. But this would be cost to you, and then once you are in the bid, and that's then you can specify markup percentage rates and things like that. But it has been a pleasure to walk you through these 10 steps, and I wish you the best. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out to us at support@pavementsoft.com. And we are here for any of the needs that you have. We look forward to working with you, and together I know we can accomplish amazing things. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.